So we are reading the fifth agreement. We are on page 41 of the PDF, starting the second agreement. Don't take anything personal.
The second agreement, don't take anything personally. Let's use the power of our imagination to create a dream together, knowing that it's a dream. Imagine that you are in a gigantic mall where there are hundreds of movie theaters. You look around to see what's playing and you notice a movie that has your name. Amazing. You go inside the theater and it's empty except for one person. Very quietly, trying not to interrupt, you sit behind that person who doesn't even notice you. All that person's attention is on the movie.
So again, the reality that we are technically living in is a shared reality. It's a consensual universe. All of us have agreed to experience this universe as we are experiencing it, right? So we are creating this reality for ourselves. So this reality is like a movie which we are creating, and we are watching the movie. Now we can take a witness attitude and be outside the movie and watching it, or we can be inside the movie and experiencing it, right? So if we can have an attitude of both, a witnessing as well as an experiencing, our perspectives start to really change.
You look at the screen and what a big surprise. You recognize every character in the movie: your mother, your father, your brothers and sisters, your beloved, your children, your friends. Then you see the main character of the movie and it's you. You are the star of the movie and it's the story of you. And that person in front of you, well, it's also you, watching yourself act in the movie. Of course, the main character is just the way you believe you are, and so are all the secondary characters because you know the story of you. After a while, you feel a little overwhelmed by everything you just witnessed, and you decide to go to another theater. In this theater, there is also just one person watching a movie, and she doesn't even notice when you sit beside her. You start watching the movie and you recognize all the characters, but now you're just a secondary character. This is the story of your mother's life, and she is the one who is watching the movie with all her attention. Then you realize that your mother is not the same person who was in your movie. The way she projects herself is completely different in her movie. It's the way your mother wants everyone to perceive her. You know that it's not authentic, she's just acting. But then you begin to realize that it's the way she perceives herself, and it's kind of a shock.
So, so everyone has a way of perceiving reality in the way that they are perceiving it, right? So what we are perceiving is very different from the way anyone else is perceiving. So the way the mother is perceiving her life and the way we perceived her life will be totally different.
Then you notice that the character who has your face is not the same person who was in your movie. You say to yourself, ah, this isn't me. But now you can see how your mother perceives you, what she believes about you, and is far from what you believe about yourself. Then you see the character of your father, the way your mother perceives him, and it's not at all the way you perceive him. It's completely distorted, and so is her perception of all the other characters. You see the way your mother perceives your beloved, and you even get a little upset with your mom. How dare she? You stand up and get out of there.
So again, everyone's perception of everyone else is very different from the way that we perceive them.
You go to the next theater, and it's the story of your beloved. Now you can see the way your beloved perceives you, and the character is completely different from the one who was in your movie and the one who was in your mother's movie. You can see the way your beloved perceives your children, your family, your friends. You can see the way your beloved wants to project him or herself, and it's not the way you perceive your beloved at all. Then you decide to leave that movie and go to your children's movie. You see the way your children see you, the way they see grandpa, grandma, and you can hardly believe it. Then you watch the movies of your brothers and sisters, of your friends, and you find out that everybody is distorting all the characters in their movie. After seeing all these movies, you decide to return to the first theater to see your own movie once again. You look at yourself acting in your movie, but you no longer believe anything you're watching. You no longer believe your own story because you can see that it's just a story. Now you know that all the acting you did your whole life was really for nothing because nobody perceives you the way you want to be perceived.
Now, this is
You
important over here, right? All of us technically are acting. All of us have a facade, and that facade is actually useless. This is what this entire episode is attempting to tell us, because everyone else is anyway going to perceive you with their own eyes. Whatever act you may put up, it really doesn't matter. So it's always better to be your authentic self. Just be yourself, be true to yourself, and just behave in that particular manner. Yes, Renuji.
Yeah, Bhaiya, I
Hmm.
think this is so fascinating the way they have explained it, because we never see it from another person's point of view. And the way they've explained this example, I mean, I could just sort of see how, if you really see it from the other person's point of view, it'll be absolutely different. But beautifully
Absolutely.
they've explained it. Beautifully they've explained it.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Actually, it's very very well done, because everyone is perceiving everyone else from, with colored lenses, with their
Yeah,
perception.
yeah, but you never think in that line, no? But yeah, you can
So
only
we
see
read,
from your point of
I,
view.
yeah, absolutely. I read this book, How to Influence Friends and People, Dale Carnegie book, long time back in the 1970s, and it really influenced me a lot. And the main takeaway I got from that book is put yourself in the other guy's shoe and then look at it, right? So we hardly do that. We really don't do that. We are always looking at it, at everything from our own perspective, our own point of view. That's where the shift needs to come in us, to be able to understand it from another person's perspective.
That's good. Very beautifully they've explained
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
you can see that all the drama that happens in your movie isn't really noticed by anybody around you. It's obvious that everybody's attention is focused on their own movie. They don't even notice when you're sitting right beside them in their theater. The actors have all their attention on their story, and that is the only reality they live in.
So again, wherever you focus your attention, that is where your attention is. And that is what is happening to you and around you, right? And most of us are focused on ourselves. Simple fact, right? Even I do it. That today, suppose you take out a group photograph, okay, and you know that you are there. Who is the first person that you will look for? You will look for yourself. It's a given. Whoever else may be in the photograph, you're first going to look for yourself. So we are all focused on ourselves. Whether we like it or not, that's the truth of the matter.
Their attention is so hooked by their own creation that they don't even notice their own presence, the one who is observing their movie.
So again, so one is you are in the character in the movie, and the other is you are witnessing the character from outside, right? So two different entities.
In that moment, everything changes for you. Nothing is the same anymore because now you see what's really happening. People live in their own world, in their own movie, in their own story. They invest all their faith in that story, and that story is truth for them. But it's a relative truth because it's not truth for you. Now you can see that all their opinions about you really concern the character who lives in their movie, not in yours. The one who they are judging in your name is a character they create. Whatever people think of you is really about the image they have of you, and that image isn't you.
So beautiful, right? Everyone is creating images in their mind about everyone else. And that is how they perceive everyone else, whether we like it or not, right? And it is actually not the true you.
At this point, it's clear that the people you love the most don't really know you, and you don't know them either. The only thing you know about them is what you believe about them. You only know the image you created for them, and that image has nothing to do with the real people.
So this is very important. The only thing you know about them is what you believe about them, right? So again, we come into belief system territories. Whatever we believe, that is the box that we create for ourselves, and we live within that box. And the idea ultimately at the end of the day is to transcend the boxes, right? To be able to perceive what's the truth. That's what we are ultimately looking for in all the stuff that we are doing in awareness today.
Yeah, may I say something?
Yeah, of course, please.
Yeah, this is so true about that what you, because sometimes you have an image about somebody, even if that person is not coming out from that, if they've done something and they're not coming from that, say, that
State.
act, that state, but you will always perceive them from what you think they're coming from.
Absolutely. That's a given.
It's so difficult to change your opinion about you have a set opinion, and then you carry on having that same opinion about that person, irrespective that person has changed or not.
Correct. Absolutely.
It's so true to this that I was just thinking sometimes because a child is naughty, so you'll carry on even if the poor chap has done something good for you, you'll say nahi usi ne kiya hoega,
Sahi baat. 100%.
I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
In this, I would like to add that sometimes because of our preconceived things, we think that they will act like this with us.
Absolutely.
You thought that you knew your parents, your spouse, your children, and your friends very well. The truth is, you have no idea what is going on in their world, what they are thinking, what they are feeling, what they are dreaming. What is even more surprising is that you thought you knew yourself. Then you come to the conclusion that you don't even know yourself because you've been acting for so long that you've mastered pretending to be what you are not.
So what is the idea over here, right? That again, when we do the gateway voice, there's a video that was shown about, it's called the Kernel. Amazing video. He says that we are actually not from this planet. Okay. So when you came here, you pretended to be something. And then you pretended to be pretending that you are something. And then you pretended to forget what you were pretending to be that you were pretending to be. Ultimately, what is happening? We forget who our authentic self is, right? And it's amazing. And if you really look at it, what is the game that we are playing when we are going into these advanced focus levels, etc.? We are just simply expanding our perception levels so that we can perceive what is, right? Otherwise, we are constantly covering stuff up. The facade is taking over everything.
Bhaiya, can you repeat this again, please? I missed out.
He says that you pretended to be here.
Yeah.
Right. Then you pretended to pretend that you were this character that you were playing.
Okay.
And then you forgot that you were pretending and to pretend that you were that character.
So you forgot the whole story from where you started.
So you forgot from where you came. Right. Now, if you look at all spirituality, they're all talking about enlightenment. They're talking about moksha, right? They're talking about oneness. What is all that? Going back to your roots, going back to the Godhead, going back to where you came from. So getting to know your true self at the end of the day.
Okay. Thank you.
With this awareness, you realize how ridiculous it is to say, my beloved doesn't understand me. Nobody understands me. Of course they don't. You don't even understand yourself. Your personality is always changing from one moment to the next, according to the role you are playing, according to the secondary characters in your story, according to the way you are dreaming at that time.
So again, we are constantly evolving. We are constantly changing. We are constantly responding or reacting to any situation that we are in. So in one situation, you may be very docile and cool. In another situation, you may be very aggressive. So who are you? Are you the aggressive character or are you the docile character? Right. So we have all of us have multifaceted characters within us. So it's very difficult to understand who you really are.
At home, you have a certain personality. At work, your personality is completely different. With your female friends, it's one way. With your male friends, it's another way.
So just to put it, in the office, the man is the sher. In the house, the man is the billy.
But all your life, you made the assumption that your other people knew you so well. And when they didn't do what you expected them to do, you took it personally, reacted with anger, and used the word to create a lot of conflict and drama for nothing.
So again, you make an assumption that the person must behave in this manner. When the person doesn't do that, naturally it ticks you off, right? So then you get into the control drama bit that we talked about in Celestine Prophecy. The 4 control dramas, I hope all of you remember. One is the intimidator, then is the interrogator, the aloof, and the poor me. As soon as this kind of a thing happens, the conflict happens, the drama starts to play, and you want to absorb energy from the other person, which again lands up creating a problem. Because again, you're not being your authentic self. You're acting. Whenever you are in a control drama, there's an act which is taking place.
But all your life, you made the assumption that other people knew you so well. And when they didn't do what you expected them to do, you took it personally, reacted with anger, and used the word to create a lot of conflict and drama for nothing. Now it's easy to understand why there is so much conflict between humans. The world is populated by billions of dreamers who aren't aware that people are living in their own world, dreaming their own dream, from the point of view of the main character, which is their only point of view. Everything is all about them. When the secondary characters say something that doesn't agree with their point of view, they get angry and try to defend their position. They want the secondary characters to be the way they want them to be. And if they are not, they feel very hurt. They take everything personally. With this awareness, you can also understand the solution, and it's something so simple and logical. Don't take anything personally.
So again, most of the people are very, very self-centered. They want everything done their way, right? And this is true for all of us. It's not only some people, right? We all want everything done our way. And when it's not done our way, we start getting upset. Why? Because we take it personally. The moment we drop taking it personally, a lot of things will start getting sorted out.
Now the meaning of the second agreement is profoundly clear. This agreement gives you immunity in the interaction you have with the secondary characters in your story. You don't have to concern yourself with other people's point of view. Once you can see that nothing others say or do is about you, it doesn't matter who gossips about you, who blames you, who rejects you, who disagrees with your point of view. All the gossip doesn't affect you. You don't even bother to defend your point of view. You just let the dogs bark, and surely they will bark and bark and bark. So what? Whatever people say doesn't affect you because you are immune to their opinions and their emotional poison. You are immune from the predators, the ones who use gossip to hurt other people, the ones who want to use other people to hurt themselves.
So again, basically what is the thing over here, right? If you stop taking things personally, then you're not affected by what anyone says. You're not interested in gossip. You're interested in being. You're not interested in making assumptions, right? What was the first? I mean, it's going to come that do not make any assumptions, right? When do we take things personally? Most of the time we are making assumptions. If you're gossiping, right? Then you are making assumptions. If someone blames you, you don't have to take the blame. Most of the time, when anyone blames anyone, they are not taking responsibility for themselves. And this is something that we are seeing a lot when we are doing biofield tuning also. When people start playing the blame game, then they cannot progress because they put the power in someone else's hand, right? If someone disagrees with you, there's no point in going into a conflict. You can put your opinion and then leave it at that. When you start attempting to defend your opinion, means that you're not sure about what you're really saying, right? Attempting to explain is another matter. But if you're attempting to defend, then it becomes a problem. This is something that I've learned the hard way. I truly feel that everyone should attend the programs. I used to get very upset that when people are not attending the programs. Now I've realized that that is not the game that we need to play. Our job is to put it in front of them and then walk out. If they are meant to do something, they will do it. There's no point in attempting to fight it out or to defend or to try to press a point of view, because the other person is always going to stick to their own point of view unless they are open and receptive. It doesn't make any sense to talk and push anyone. Yes, Renuji?
Bhaiya, but isn't it so natural to want, especially if you feel something is very good and you feel it's going to help somebody? You do tend to push it, no? However much you think that they will try.
So that's what I'm saying. You can put it in front of them and share your experience about that particular thing or that experience that you had, right? But it's very, if you attempt to push someone very hard into something, the first thing that they will do is they will reject it when they come into it. Unless they come with openness into something, it's better not to push them, because they will always be attempting to find fault with whatever you've asked them or you've pushed them into. And then even if they were going to get the benefit, they won't get the benefit.
Okay.
So it's better to tell them and then check it out yourself. If you have any questions, ask me. That's a better way of doing it. That's what I've learned over the years.
Okay.
Also over here, we need to understand, right, that most gossip, when you look at gossip, it is to the detriment of someone else. And as soon as you're doing that, you're on the left side of the grid. And it seriously doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If you really want to talk about someone, talk about what you can appreciate about a person. Talk about what you can be grateful about that person. That puts you on the right side of the grid. That is, I think, much more important. Shimangla?
Don't take anything personally is a beautiful tool of interaction with your own kind, human to human, and it's a big ticket to personal freedom. Because you no longer have to rule your life according to other people's opinions. This really frees you. You can do whatever you want to do, knowing that whatever you do has nothing to do with anyone but you. The only person who needs to be concerned about the story of you is you. This awareness changes everything. Remember, awareness of the truth is the first step to self-mastery, and that is what you're doing right now. You're being reminded of the truth.
So again,
Now,
when we don't take anything personally, then we are free, right? Because we're not concerned about the opinion of others. We will do what we want to do because we want to do it. It's very simple. We are concerned with what we are doing. We are not concerned with what the other guy is doing, right? For example, we are having all these sessions, and let me tell you, I do it for myself because I learn a lot. I am growing a lot by doing these sessions. I'm grateful to all of you that you all come, right? But I'm really doing all these sessions for myself. So if someone has an opinion that you're doing a bad job, you're doing a good job, you're not doing a good job, you're not effective, you're not efficient, to be frank with you, I'm really not concerned because I'm doing it for myself, right? The moment you start doing it with compassion, with love, with gentleness, and from the right side of the grade, then you're not bothered by what anyone else may say. Okay. Recently, I had this issue with someone. It was not an issue actually. So, what we were attempting to do something, right? Now, this guy says, he turns around and tell me that, if you do this, then this person has a lot of connections in Calcutta and they are going to take out they're going to take everything out of you. I said, okay, let them try it. Whatever they want to take out, let them take out. Now, if you're being yourself, then you're not scared of anyone. You're not scared of any opinions. You are yourself. That's it. Now, if someone else has an opinion of you and you're not really bothered by that opinion, then where is the problem? There is no problem left whatsoever. I can say this because of all in the pandemic, personally speaking, I have grown a lot, right? The ideas that I have been carrying personally have shifted a lot simply because of what we are doing day in and day out. And that's where awareness comes in. So he's saying very clearly over here in the last paragraph, it's all a matter of awareness, being aware of what is happening, right? What is the change? What is everything around you? What is it saying? Becoming aware of the whole gambit.
now that you understand this truth, now that you are aware, how can you take anything personally anymore? Once you understand that all humans live in their own world, in their own movie, in their own dream, the second agreement is pure common sense. Don't take anything personally.
So everyone will always have their own opinion and they will always see everything with blinkers in their own eyes, okay, through colored lenses. So naturally, if you're taking things personally, you're creating a problem for yourself.
Truth or fiction? The third agreement, don't make assumptions. For centuries, even millennia, humans have believed that a conflict exists in the human mind, a conflict between good and evil. But this isn't true. Good and evil are just the result of the conflict because the real conflict is between the truth and lies. Perhaps we should say that all conflict is the result of lies because the truth has no conflict at all.
So this is so true, right? What is true is true. There is no other thing to think about it, right? There is nothing that can change it. If it's a lie, then it can keep shifting and changing. But the truth is the truth. That's all.
The truth doesn't need to prove itself. It exists whether we believe in it or not. Lies only exist if we create them, and they only survive if we believe in them. Lies are just a distortion of the word, a distortion of the meaning of a message, and that distortion is in the reflection, the human mind. Lies aren't real, they are our creation, but we give them life and make them real in the virtual reality of our mind.
So beautifully said, right? Anything that is created by the mind is Maya, is not the truth. So what are we looking for over here? We are looking for the truth. Because we believe in something, we make it real. If we don't believe in it, we will not make it real. It will not be real anymore, right? So we have to be very clear and discerning what is real and what is not real. And that can only come when we start to expand our states of consciousness. We start looking at it from a wider perspective, from a bigger view. And that's what the game is all about.
When I was a teenager, my grandfather told me the simple truth, but it took years for me to really understand it because I was always thinking, how can we know the truth? I was using symbols to try to understand the truth when the real truth is that the symbols have nothing to say about the truth. The truth existed long before humans created symbols.
So before we labeled a tree, the tree was already existing, right? So the word which we use to label the tree is just an illusion. It's actually not the truth. The tree, the essence of the tree is the truth.
As artists, we are always distorting the truth with symbols, but that's not the problem. As we said before, the problem is when we believe that distortion, because some lies are innocent and others are deadly. Let's consider how we can use the word to create a story, a superstition about a chair. What do we know about a chair? We can say that a chair is made of wood or metal or cloth, but we are just using symbols to express a point of view. The truth is that we don't really know what the object is, but we can use the word with all of our authority to deliver a message to ourselves and to everyone around us. This chair is ugly. I hate this chair.
So again, the chair is just a label, right? It is not the actual item. So what are we labeling? We are saying that we don't like the chair. This chair is not good. But the chair is a chair. It's itself, right? So if you remove the label, then what is it? It's the bare truth. We are just labeling it so that we understand what we are talking about. But it's a distortion.
The message is already distorted, but this is just the beginning. We can say it's a stupid chair, and I think that whoever sits in the chair might become stupid also. I think we have to destroy the chair because if someone sits in the chair and it falls apart, that person will fall and break a hip. Oh, yes, the chair is evil. Let's create a law against the chair so that everybody knows that it's a danger to society. From now on, it's prohibited to get near the evil chair.
So now the chair is just a chair, but we've made it an evil chair. And because it's evil, we need to destroy it. And now the myth gets created that never sit in the chair, otherwise you will break a hip or you'll break a bone, or the chair is evil because it creates a lot of problems.
If we deliver this message, then whoever receives the message and agrees with the message starts to become afraid of the evil chair. Very soon, there are people who are so afraid of the chair that they start having nightmares about it. They become obsessed with the evil chair, and of course, they have to destroy the chair before it destroys them.
So this is how total distortion takes place, right? It started with just a chair. Someone says it's evil, it's ugly. Someone says it's ugly, then someone says it's evil, and then boom, everything goes out of whack.
Bhaiya, then that means even superstitions would be something like this.
Correct. Superstitions are started like this only. Now there are certain uplifting superstitions and there are some downgrading. Now this superstition that when a black cat crosses your road, then you will land up having a problem, right? Now it's a superstition. So someone at some point in time, the black cat may have crossed the road and that person may have had a problem. And he went and told something, a black cat crossed my road and then I had this problem. Now that guy says, tell someone else, that if a black cat crosses the road and you go somewhere, you will have a problem. Then the third guy says, black cat crossed my road and I had a problem. And then what happens? Slowly and steadily, when the black cat crosses the road, everyone will stop. And then some other car will go. Now he will have a problem. I will not have a problem. Now I will go. So that's how it started, right?
True.
Do you see what we can do with the word? The chair is just an object. It exists, and that's the truth. But the story we create about the chair is not the truth. It's a superstition. It's a distorted message, and that message is the lie. If we don't believe the lie, no problem. If we believe the lie and try to impose that lie on other people, it can lead to what we call evil. Of course, what we call evil has many levels, depending on our personal power. Some people can lead the whole world into a great war where millions of people die. There are tyrants all around the world who invade other countries and destroy their people because the tyrants believe in lies.
So again, it can, whenever there is a distortion, right, and we do not look at the truth, what's the truth behind whatever is being said, we don't clear the facade, it can lead to pandemics. It can lead to a lot of distortion of everything, and then lead to a lot of problems created for everyone around us.
Now we can easily understand why there is a conflict in the human mind, and only in the human mind, the virtual reality, because it doesn't exist in the rest of nature. There are billions of humans who distort all those symbols in their heads and deliver distorted messages. That's what really happened to humanity. I think that answers why all the wars exist, why all the injustice and abuse exist, why the dream that we call hell exists in the world of humans. Hell is nothing but a dream full of lies.
So again, when we go into altered states of consciousness, we say that we are going into thought responsive universes, right? Now, in that universe, in that expanded state of consciousness, whatever you think of will manifest immediately in front of you. So now if you're thinking of hell over there, hell is going to manifest in front of you. Now, we don't realize it, but we are also living in a thought responsive universe. Today, if I think of lifting my hand, I lift my hand, right? So what has happened? The universe has responded. So when we say that we are living in hell, who is creating that hell? We are creating that hell for ourselves because we are creating our reality with our minds. And that is a distortion, right? It's actually a lie. The nature is nature. It will do what needs to do, but it is not good or bad. It just is, right? But when we start blame gaming, we start labeling, we start distorting what is happening, it creates a problem for all of us.
Remember, our dream is controlled by what we believe, and what we believe could be truth or could be fiction.
So again, we live within our belief systems, and our belief systems are not what is always the truth, right? So naturally, there can be a very big distortion of what we believe in. It can change, right? Because it may not be the truth.
The truth leads us to our authenticity, to happiness. Lies lead us to limitations in our lives, to suffering and drama. Whoever believes in truth lives in heaven. Whoever believes in lies, sooner or later, lives in hell.
So again, as soon as you believe in a lie, you'll have to make 50 lies to uplift that lie, right? To keep that life to be so-called truth, right? To make that lie believable. But if the truth is said, it's the truth is the truth. You have clarity of thought, you've just said it. Now you're not going to waver, you're not going to change. If it is not the truth, then you'll have to keep defending the truth. You'll defending the lie. You'll have to keep creating more lies to defend the original lie.
Lies lead us to limitations in our lives, to suffering and drama. Whoever believes in truth lives in heaven. Whoever believes in lies, sooner or later, lives in hell. We don't have to die to go to heaven or hell. Heaven is all around us, just as hell is all around us. Heaven is a point of view, a state of mind, and so is hell. It's obvious that lies have been running every show in our head. Humans create the lies, and then the lies control the humans. But sooner or later, the truth arrives, and the lies cannot survive the presence of the truth.
So again, heaven and hell is a state of mind, right? So now, if we live on the left side of the grid, we are literally living in hell. If we live on the right side of the grid, we are living in heaven. Because what is hell? It's a depletion, it's a compression, it's a, it's a distortion. But when you come into the truth is bright, it is uplifting, it is energizing, right? There is growth when you are in the right side of the grid. So that is basically heaven.
Centuries ago, people believed that the earth was flat. Some said that elephants were supporting the earth, and that made them feel safe. Good, now we know that the earth is flat. Well, now we know that it isn't flat. The belief that the earth was flat was considered the truth, and almost everybody agreed. But did that make it true?
So again, right, the earth is flat was a belief at that time. It was not proven, right? Like that, when you look at science, science is also evolving. It is constantly reassessing. So what was true 20 years back is no longer the truth now. Why? Because something has changed. Some new information has come. But what is the truth will always remain the truth. It will never get shifted. That's it.
One of the biggest lies we hear at the present time is nobody is perfect. It's a great excuse for our behavior, and almost everybody agrees. But is it true? On the contrary, every human in the world is perfect. But we've been hearing this lie since we were children, and as a consequence, we keep judging ourselves against an image of perfection.
This is so beautiful, right? You are what you are. Do your best and forget the rest. The problem is that we are constantly comparing ourselves to perfection. For example, the zero shape models, if women start to compare themselves with them, they have a big problem in their hands, right? And that is what the media does. And they distort what is perfect. At the end of the day, everyone is perfect as they are. And we need to accept everyone as they are. That is the basic game that we need to play. The more clarity we have in our own minds, the better off we will be, and the more happy we will be, the more on the right side of the grid we will be. Right. So again, striving for perfection, I think, is a big issue that most of us have, and we should really drop it. We have to accept the imperfections. There's this thing in Japan, they keep talking about it, that if a bowl breaks, they stick it together with gold or whatever, and then the imperfection adds to the beauty of the bowl, right? So all of us are actually beautiful.
We keep searching for perfection, and in our search, we find that everything in the universe is perfect except the humans. The sun is perfect, the stars are perfect, the planets are perfect, but when it comes to the humans, nobody is perfect. The truth is that everything in creation is perfect, including the humans. If we don't have the awareness to see the truth, it's because we are blinded by the lie. You may say, what about someone who is physically disabled? Is that person perfect? Well, according to what you know, that person may be imperfect, but is what you know the truth? Who says that what we call a disability or even a disease isn't perfect?
Beautifully said, right? Everyone is perfect. Even if someone is disabled, the person is actually perfect. Why? Because maybe that person came here, when we are looking at it again from the Monroe philosophy, and when we are going into expanded states, all of us actually decide what we are wanting to live. What are we wanting to experience? So now, if a person wants to experience being disabled, then if he is disabled, then that is perfect for the life experience of that person. So how do you know that it is not perfect, right? So at the end of the day, actually speaking, everything is perfect.
Everything about us is perfect, including any disability or disease that we may have. Someone with a learning difficulty is perfect. Someone born without a finger or an arm or an ear is perfect. Someone with a disease is perfect. Only perfection exists, and that awareness is another important step in our evolution. To say otherwise is not to have the awareness of what we are. And it's not enough to say that we are perfect. We need to believe that we are perfect.
So now this becomes very important, right? When you give lip service to something, right, it is not effective. Like I know many people who write gratitude journals. So every night they will write, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, and they'll have 100 list of things that they are grateful for. But are they feeling it? Are they really believing it? Are they living that gratitude? Just writing it is not going to do anything for them, right? So in the same way, we need to believe that, okay, we are complete in ourselves. This is the best I can do, and we accept it. Yes, we continuously try to raise the bar, but that doesn't mean that whatever state we are in is imperfect. It is perfect for that moment in time, right? And as we grow, we can definitely improve ourselves, but it doesn't mean that we are imperfect when we are doing a little less than what we can achieve. Okay.
If we believe ourselves to be imperfect, that lie gathers more lies for support. And together, all those lies repress the truth and guide the dream that we are creating for ourselves. Lies are nothing but superstitions, and I can assure you that we live in a world of superstition. But again, are we aware of it?
So again, in the Gateway Voyage, one of the first things that Robert Monroe talks about in his first talk that we actually shown, and actually it's a recording, but he says very clearly that we need to understand what is our belief system, and the belief systems are all illusions, right? We need to drop the illusions. And the idea is that you need to drop the illusion willingly. You're not supposed to be forced to drop a illusion, then it is not dropping it. And then the next step is that what do you do? What do you think after you have dropped the illusion? Right. So that becomes very important, that what is the world we are creating for ourselves, or what are we doing and thinking once we drop the illusion? So the idea is to become aware that we have illusions. If you are not aware that you have illusions, you can never drop the illusions.
Just imagine waking up tomorrow morning in 14th century Europe, knowing that what you presently know, believing what you believe today. Imagine what those people would think of you, how they would judge you. They would put you on trial for taking a bath every day.
So again, in 14th century, you took a bath maybe once in 6 months, right? So now if you're having a shower every day, they would think that you are crazy and then lock you up.
Everything you believe would threaten what they believe. How long would it take before they accused you of being a witch? They would torture you, make you confess to being a witch, and finally kill you because of their fear of your beliefs.
Today, we are roaming around with mobile phones. If in the 14th century you told people that, we would communicate with mobile phones, they'll think you're wacky. You're out of your mind. I remember when we used to tell people that everything has energies, everything has an aura field, they used to think that we are crazy. Okay, now it's become very, very normal because it's become, so many people are talking about it. But at the end of the day, if someone has not seen something and it is not in their comprehension, then they are definitely going to get affected by whatever you're doing. That's what led to the witch hunts in Europe, right? They killed so many people, so many spiritual people who were doing good stuff, but then they were killed because others could not understand what they were up to and what they were doing.
You can easily see that those people lived their lives immersed in superstition. Hardly anything they believed was true. And you can easily see that because of what you believe today. But those people were not aware of their superstitions. Their way of life was completely normal for them. They didn't know any better because they never learned anything else.
So again, it's a matter of awareness. When you start becoming aware of things, that's the time when illusions start to drop. The superstitions start to drop. Without awareness, it is not possible to drop them.
Then perhaps what you believe about yourself is just as full of superstition as the beliefs of those people long ago. Just imagine if humans from 7 or 8 centuries in the future could see what most of us believe about ourselves today. The way the most of us relate to our own body is still barbarian, though not as much as 700 years ago. Our body is completely loyal to us, but we judge our body and abuse our body. We treat it as if it's the enemy when it's our ally. Our society places a lot of importance on being attractive according to the images we see in the media, on television, in movies, in fashion magazines. If we believe that we are not attractive enough according to these images, then we believe a lie. And we are using word against ourselves, against the truth.
So today, a very funny thing happened. I was doing a biofield tuning session, and this lady tells me, I want to fly, right? So I said that you're not able to fly simply because in your belief system, you think that you can't fly, right? Then I told her that you tell me what you're made out of. And naturally, we came to atoms, and atoms are 99% space. So if you are space, then why can't you fly, technically speaking? And what's to say that in maybe 1,000 years, we will actually be teleporting ourselves from one place to the other? What's to say that we will not be able to actually just move our hands and be able to fly? Today, if someone let's say in the 14th century, today we all fly on airplanes, we travel on trains. In the 14th century, or even in maybe in the BC time, right? They could not have imagined it. That means we are doing magic, right? So things keep changing, whether we like it or not. Now, again, with our body, we are constantly criticizing our body. I'm too fat, I'm too thin, this, that. Again, when we criticize ourselves, we are creating a problem for ourselves simply because we go on the left side of the plate. So we must appreciate what we have to get what we want. So the last thing that we need to do is actually blame our body. And of course, being the zero size is not the most efficient way to live in my view, right? I don't think that's a healthy state of being, but again, that's my belief. But the media wants to show us something else.
The people in control of the media tell us what to believe, how to dress, what to eat, and they manipulate humans like puppets, which means in whatever way they want. If they want us to hate someone, they spread gossip all around, and the lies work their magic. When we stop being puppets, it's obvious that our lives have been guided by lies and superstitions. Imagine what future humans would think of our superstitions. If they believed in the perfection of everything in creation, including every human, would we crucify them for their beliefs?
So again, most of us are living in a lie because we are really not aware of what is happening. The more awareness we get into our systems, the better off we will ultimately be.
What is the truth and what is the lie? Once again, awareness is so important because the truth doesn't come with words, with knowledge, but lies do, and there are billions of lies. Humans believe so many lies because we aren't aware. We ignore the truths or we just don't see the truth. When we are domesticated, we accumulate a lot of knowledge, and all that knowledge is just like a wall of fog that doesn't allow us to perceive the truth, what really is. We only see what we want to see. We only hear what we want to hear. Our belief system is just like a mirror that only shows us what to believe.
So again, depending on our belief system, we will become aware of what we believe in. And that's when we not need to drop the belief, right? So personally speaking, now when we go for energy rectification to anyone's house, etc., I don't even take out the compass, to be frank with you, because I do not want what I am going to perceive to be distorted by previous knowledge that this is in the right place and that is in the wrong place. We first do a test to figure out what is the field, what it is talking about, and then if required, take out the compass to see how, where, what is, right? So you don't want, because everything that is said in the text of Vastu Shastra, for example, I don't believe it to be true in today's circumstances, because there are many other factors which are actually involved in having clarity of the field in the houses, right? So again, dropping off superstition, dropping off that to understand what is real and what is not real. So we need to open our minds, open our awareness to be able to perceive stuff that is really there.
In our development, as we grow throughout our lives, we learn so many lies that the whole structure of our lives becomes very complicated. And we make it even more complicated because we think and we believe in what we think. We make the assumption that what we believe is the absolute truth, and we never stop to consider that our truth is a relative truth, a virtual truth. Usually, it's not even close to any kind of truth, but it's the closest we can get without awareness.
So again, we are creating our reality, and the reality is being created by the mind. The mind works with distortions. So really speaking, the worldview that we have is distorted. And we think that it is the ultimate truth. There is no other truth beyond that. But the moment you stop, you drop the belief that everything that you think is right is always right, then you can start opening yourself up to see a different perspective, to see a different view, and expand your own view through awareness, right? So it's very important that not to, that's why again in the earlier in the chapter it said, no use of defending your opinion, because people will bark and they will keep barking. There's no point in attempting to defend anything. If you think something is there, it's there. If you think it's not there, it's not there. If you can open yourself to seeing it from another person's perspective, maybe your perspective will change. So your worldview will also change accordingly. I think we can stop here.